The Dark Side of the Rainbow. Episode 7. Is there a podcast? There's a podcast. Oh my God, there's a podcast. There's a podcast. There's a podcast. Okay. Okay. Ooh, calm down, David. Calm down, David. Where do I find the Gays Against Groomer podcast?
And ensuring that we do not allow pedophiles or anything of the sort to penetrate the school system.
Yes, I agree. Pedophiles should, and also stop saying penetrate. I agree that those people should not be in schools 100%. We should not be sexualizing kids. I agree. But you saying that the sexualization of kids is the same thing as including queer content in schools. Oh my God. What? And Frank, you sitting here is what I can only assume to be a gay man. You think that you are doing a service here by throwing trans folks into the conservative machine. But one day, Mr. Frank, they are coming for your rights too. They're coming for your neck beard, girl.
It's targeting just
Grooming.
the youngest.
Yeah.
Stop saying grooming. Asking somebody's pronouns is not grooming, you lunatic.
This is not the only time that a student from Castro Valley School District has approached me and let me know that there are inappropriate things that happen in these gender-neutral restaurants.
And you don't think the same inappropriate things aren't happening in other washrooms? You're loony. Hello babies and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, hi, my name is David, and if you have been here before, thanks for coming back, and my name is still, in fact, David. And so here on my series called Dismantling Hate, we look at some hateful rhetoric that we can find online because, you know, we've been part of the world and we see all kinds of hateful stuff. And today, my darlings, we are going to look at an Instagram page called Gays Against Groomers. Now, I'm here to tell you, this is here for entertainment purposes, and maybe I can help you build your toolbox here of how you can deal with some of these ideologies as they present in the real world. Please do not go leave hateful comments on these pictures or videos or anything because we do not need to perpetuate this culture of hate. However, we are going to look at these with a critical eye. I am here to provide you some entertainment, maybe some comedic reactions, and yeah, let's just get into it. I don't want to. So, okay, Gays Against Groomers. It says a nonprofit of gays against the sexualization, indoctrination, and medicalization of children. And then there's a bunch of backups there. So we're gonna start here and let's look at their pinned posts. Let's just get right into it and see what we can.
There is no pride in
God.
indoctrinating children in schools.
There is no pride in stripping parents of their right to protect their children.
There is no pride in sexualizing children at drag shows.
There is no pride in mutilating and sterilizing children in the name of gender-affirming care.
This June, what are you proud of? Because we have some issues that we need to talk about.
We're fighting back from inside the community. Join Gays Against Groomers in the battle against radical gender ideology that is destroying our youth.
That was really gross. Okay, so first of all, these videos that they're showing are just, these videos aren't really solidifying what they're saying. They're just kind of pulled from different corners of the internet to kind of like blindly fit what they're saying here. First of all, oh my God, it's like every single one I have a comment on, but I don't know, maybe we'll just pick one. I don't know. This doesn't pause because Instagram is stupid. It says it may be the first day of Pride Month, but there's no pride in all of those things of children. The rainbow has been hijacked by activists who are using it as a shield to push a dangerous agenda onto your kids. Again, people aren't out here trying to make kids trans. What we're doing is trying to have people be comfortable enough within a system so they don't feel like they have to repress their gender. Trans people exist. Trans folks exist. And that's just, I think maybe that's why people are upset here. It has nothing to do with the indoctrination or the medicalization of children. And like the video of a kid like grimacing with a needle being injected into their arms. Like there's no way to know that that's actually done against that child's will, or like if it's just a vaccination. But I'm sure these people are against vaccinations as well. Nobody is sterilizing children in the name of the queer community. Get a friggin' grip here. And like these videos that they're showing, like the drag, it's just no. Like I'm sure God, I'm doing this for you out there, the watcher. I already have a higher heart rate. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna leave that one because I don't think I can't take every single. Be on the side that is against that P word right there. No, it isn't that difficult. And I am also not on, it's creating a false binary. Again, it is separating people into categories by saying you're either for the this P word or you're against this P word. And I think everybody who has a logistic understanding of what that means is against that P word, of course. But also, you can't attribute this idea to people who are trans. It's just, it's a logical fallacy. Nobody's out here trying to make children transition. We're trying to support children through their own needs. Anyway, this one is really interesting here. What people think all gays do, and then what most gays actually do. This one is really interesting to me, because these are inherently queer people who are hating against trans people, but yet somehow they're including trans people with like pup play and what they believe is indoctrinating children. So like this top picture here of this small child with a pride flag, like looking at these people who have like the pup masks on. I don't know if this is appropriate. Like it does walk the line of being inappropriate. I do think that, because especially like with, well, I don't know, like with the leather and that, like there is the implication of sexuality, I think, with the pup play. I don't think it necessarily has to, but I think the way that our society kind of is now, I think there is the sexual implication with pup play, especially with the way that this appears in this photo. But even though that this is not, even though I would think this isn't 100% appropriate, I think the appropriateness comes down to how the people act in the specific context. Because honestly, this little kid could look at these people with masks on and go like, oh, they're playing dress up, and then move on, right? It isn't necessarily going to be traumatizing to this young child unless the adults around encode that memory as something that is traumatizing. So while I don't think it's necessarily appropriate, there is a way in which this would not be inappropriate, even though it doesn't look that way to me in this moment. So if I had a child, would I take them to an event like this? Because this probably isn't Pride. This, I don't know what this is. This might be a Pride event. I don't know. But if that's a problem to you, then don't bring your children to Pride events. It's really not that hard or difficult, right? But it's interesting to me that what they're commenting on here is like, everybody thinks that this is the way that things are and this is how they actually are. They're really participating in their own kind of rhetoric here. And there is this like us versus them mentality. So the caption on the side here says, they do not represent us. Us normal, insane gays don't want to make the news or go viral in clips because we're literally just watching TV at home with our partners, groceries, shopping, and working. LOL. God, that sounds boring. But anyway, if you can't create this us versus them narrative, because if you're excluding trans people, which is kind of what I think this is saying, or if you're excluding people from your community and kind of condemning them to, if you're feeding them to the conservative machine that hates gays, you can't really necessarily move yourself away. You can't necessarily you can't exclude yourself from a group of people and feed them to that conservative machine, because eventually those conservatives are coming for the rights of those boring gays who are just quote unquote at home with their partners, grocery shopping and working. You think you're safe. Okay, look at the comment here. Damn, so you'd sell out your kinky friends just to fit in a heteronormative lifestyle like the rest of the straights in suburbia? So you're saying that we can't be weirdos? Bit judgy. Sell out your own community. Damn. Which I can 100% agree with. It doesn't like, I don't know. I don't know if we should be weirdos in front of kids like that. Like I do think there needs to be some kind of separation between like where the children are involved, but not to the point where like this isn't a grooming situation. This might be bordering on the inappropriate, but it's definitely not a grooming situation from what I would say, from what I would glean from this. This whole account is cringe AF. Let's move on. Gays trying to show society they're normal, and then the LGBTQIA plus movement. It just doesn't, and especially like with this clown face on, I don't know if you've gotten into the world of Christian clowning. I watched a video by Fundy Fridays. You should really go watch the world of Christian clowning. It's really interesting. It's just what this clown image made me think of. But like, if you're a gay person, you are part of the queer community. Whether you like it or not, you do fit in to this queer community. The LGB got hijacked by the TQIAS plus etc. Don't at me. So you can't say that the lesbians, the gays, and the bisexuals, like you can't separate them from the trans people, from the queer people, and from the intersex and from the two-spirit folks. Like it's just, there's a lot of overlap there too. A lot of trans people are lesbians and gay and bisexual, and queer people are lesbians and gay and bisexual. Like It's weird. Humans do love to put people in categories, so I can understand maybe a little bit where that's coming from. But honestly, how self-hating do you have to be by thinking you're so separate from somebody just because they throw a little bit of makeup on, right? Like if you look at me right now and think like, oh, I'm so different from them because like I don't wear makeup. Like, no, this is just a skill that I've developed because I enjoy doing, and it really isn't that deep about who I am as a person. I just enjoy throwing makeup on. Quite well, I might add. Oh, this one kills me. Okay.
Teens, welcome. Please invite all of your friends for children ages 8 to 15 to date each other. This group says there is a requirement to make an introduction post. But what is required in this introduction post? Make an introduction post with your age and photo. Your very first post must include a photo and age. And remember, your post must have your age and a picture of you. They sure are honing in on that, aren't they? I really wonder who is being so adamant about obtaining the pictures and ages of children ages 8 to 15.
This is of course concerning already, but it's also important to note that according to Facebook, you're not even allowed to have an account until you're 13.
Not even mentioning the recent lawsuits against Meta for being a dangerous place for children. Social media is not safe for kids because every day there are popping up new opportunities to get close to your children, and you might have absolutely no idea who they're talking to.
It's really interesting because yes, social media is not safe for children. Hell, social media is barely safe for me and I'm a full-grown adult. But you can't say that this group solidifies in any way that this is a representation of all queer people in the way that it is on the internet. This could be just one creep who's doing this, or it could legitimately be a group of actual teens who want to talk to each other. Either way, it's not necessarily appropriate and legal, I don't think, but this doesn't represent queer people. This represents something that shouldn't be happening, and it has nothing to do with queer people other than the fact that it's filtered for queer folks. It's targeting queer folks. We don't know who made it. We don't know what the intention is. We just know that it really shouldn't be. The dating group is really what's wrong. If it was just like a chat where you could interact with other queer people, I think that would be more okay. But the dating group for people aged to 15, I don't know if that's been doctored at all, but yeah, I don't think that's appropriate either. But that isn't a comment for queer people as a whole. It's just, yeah, my opinion is that social media is no place for kids ever. Yeah, I kind of agree. Social media is a wasteland, specifically Facebook. Facebook is a mess, yeah. The Dark Side of the Rainbow, episode 7. Is there a podcast? There's a podcast. Oh my God, there's a podcast. Okay. Ooh, calm down, David. Where do I find the Gays Against Groomer podcast? Okay, get me. I've never been running to YouTube so fast in my entire freaking life. Okay. Get me to the podcast. Oh no. Okay, here it is. Gays Against Groomers. Oh, I just hate it. I hate it already, but okay. So, let's look. What should we attack today? What should we have a look at? There's so much more content than I thought there would be. You know, as I was coming up with the ideas for this, I was thinking do you think there's enough hatefulness on the internet for me to keep going and create a big playlist for this? And apparently the answer is okay, let's look at this. Okay, I'm glad that the views are really low. I'm really glad that the views are low. And you know what? My views are lower than this on YouTube, but at least I'm doing something good and not this. So you know what? We're going to look at this. A short little 15-minute video, and then we'll come back in other videos and look at this other stuff. Oh, yeah, great.
So for those that don't know,
I was going to say this person sounds gay already, but it is. It's Gays Against Groomers. The neckbeard and the flag behind is really... No, I'm not commenting on physical appearance because that's not appropriate, David. Okay, exposed. 4-year-old gender questionnaire and gender neutral bathrooms. I'm not going to make any comments until we know what's actually going on. So, take us away. Oh, God.
So for those that don't know, I'm working with Gays Against Groomers, an organization led by gay people combating the grooming of children in our school systems and from adults. Basically, I lead California and was invited as an organization member to attend a school board meeting in Northern.
Oh God, okay, stop indoctrination. School should be about science, math, and English. Well, I already disagree with that. School should be a reflection of life and child-centered child-centered progressivism and not social efficiency, but that CRT, transgender therapy, etc. has no place in our educational system. It doesn't have no place, but it definitely shouldn't be the main focus, really. Join us as we peacefully stand together against the indoctrination of our children. Please bring signs. There's a rally. Okay, it's a mess. Anyway, let's get back to it. How self-hating do you have to be to separate yourself from other queer people? And like the indoctrination of children and grooming children, of course I disagree with. I think that's horrific when it's actually happening. But allowing people to freely express a diverse gender identity, for the love of God, is not grooming.
California. This is where I was able to speak to the school board on behalf of Gays Against Groomers.
It's actually really crazy. I'm sorry, we're only like 24 seconds in, but it's actually really crazy for me to hear this man's gay accent explain these things. Like, it's really upsetting.
They're contesting these pride flags that they painted across their school campuses, especially for the ones of 5, 6, and 7-year-olds, was very inappropriate, and we were there leading a protest.
What is wrong with a pride flag? There is nothing wrong with a pride flag. That is not inappropriate at all.
Now, when we met the organization Castro Valley Pride, they were a huge proponent of the opposition.
Stop sexualizing kids. People aren't sexualizing kids in the queer community at the rates that you think they are. People who are sexualizing kids need to be in jail. Sure. But affirming care saves lives with the X out? No. Let kids be kids. Yeah, I would agree. And they should be happy by doing whatever they want. Wow. Keep our children from evil messages. Stop sexualization of children.
From the other side of the street, letting us know that they were not in support of us being there. That's important because you'll find out later in this show of what exactly Castro Valley Pride has in conjunction with the school board. Details on that later.
Can't wait.
This wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for Bay Area Against Mandates, which is an organization led by Jackie in Castro Valley. She alerted me of what was happening at Castro Valley Unified School District, which led to me unfolding all in which you're about to see here today. Thank you, Jackie, for all of your efforts in assisting me and Gays Against Groomers in escorting me not only from my hotel, but around and ensuring our safety and my safety. I appreciate your leadership.
If you need an escort in order for your safety to be maintained, maybe you need to look at what you're doing.
Cannot wait to work with you again. After I left this protest and spoke at the board meeting, I was actually sent so many DMs, thank yous, and appreciations from everyone in Castro Valley. Now, here's the most important part. We were approached by 2 different parents wanting to expose 2 different things that was happening with their children inside of Castro Valley Unified School District's campuses. So check this out. I met with a parent of a 14-year-old that was inside of her health class when she was given a questionnaire asking her randomly,
okay, which of the following terms best describes your current gender identity? Okay, sure. I wonder what the point of this was. Because, like, obtaining the gender identity and sexual orientation of your students there isn't really a point to that. But the avocado and attraction to dolphins, nice printing, but the avocado and the attraction to dolphins kind of suggests that this child is not really respectful of gender identity or sexual orientation, because that's kind of nonsense. It also doesn't necessarily look like the writing of a child, now that I think about that. Anyway.
About her sexual orientation and how she identifies in her gender. The reason that this is important is because not only did the principal not know about this, this was also given by a non-school official that was invited on campus by a teacher. When your daughter came home and showed you this, what was your initial reaction?
So she was actually texting me pictures of it from class. Initially, I was pretty upset. The first question, like, your gender, whatever. It's sad to say, but I guess I've gotten used to that portion of it. But the fact that they're asking 14-year-olds what your sexual orientation is, like, who are you sexually attracted to? Why does any grown adult need to know that about any child?
Sure, I can agree with that. I don't think there's necessarily a point in ascertaining that information. And I don't think that a 14-year-old necessarily has the faculties in order to accurately express that either. Nobody knows what's going on at age 14. Well, you know what, did I know? Yeah, I knew. But I don't, in a health class, like, we need to know the context. There's so many missing pieces here. And I think that's what they're banking on in order to scare you with ambiguity.
Was she in when was this at least a health class? Like, was it?
It was.
Okay. So was she going under, sex ed, or was this just a random day?
Are you guys mostly learning about, like, sex ed right now, or is it just?
No, sex ed isn't until, like, the end of the semester. Right now, we're finishing up, like, mental health, like anxiety, depression, things like that. And today we had a guest speaker who was just talking about like mental health and like suicide prevention. And it was just the pictures that I sent my mom during class. It was just a picture of questions on a survey that they gave us in the beginning.
I guess maybe the only way that I would think that this would be appropriate is that if you passed out those things and then the kids just kept them, like maybe these are the different options that you have, like just to explain or like show that these are the things that are possible, and not that these are your options, but like these are the categories that exist, like for an educative purpose, if somehow that was connected to curriculum. But I think in order to be collecting that information, even if it was for a survey and synthesizing that information, then like the ethics board needs to be involved, and like these kids need to be like, yeah, I agree that this little thing could have been an indiscretion upon the guest speaker that was there, but this does not imply that all trans people are like that. This does not imply that all queer people or sexually and gender diverse individuals are like this. It's just it's grouping in a whole group of people who have nothing to do with this. This is in fact just about one guest speaker in one classroom one time that they're like focusing on.
Was this an organization, or were they part of the school?
The guest speaker? I have no idea.
Well, if they're a guest, it's probably safe to say that they might not be a part of the school. So
Right.
when you got this, and bear with me, but what was going through your head as a student?
I was just kind of surprised, and like I thought it was really unnecessary for them to be asking that because it was so irrelevant, like from the topic that they were supposed to be teaching us.
Okay, yeah.
What did your classmates say?
One of my friends who I was sitting next to said like kind of the same thing because she's kind of on the same page as I am. So she was just like kind of making a joke about it.
Did you reach out to the school about this?
I did. I emailed the principal, and he actually emailed me back just a couple of hours ago, and he just asked what class and who's the instructor.
How long ago did this happen?
It was early this afternoon that I emailed.
Well, this was today.
It was today, yes.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my stars.
Either the guest speaker or the teacher tie in this question as to the relevance of the topic today?
No, it was just on the piece of paper that we got.
We're really digging here. Like to make this a podcast episode, like that is, oh God, we're really trying to make something out of this here when it's really not that deep. It was just a mistake by whoever. Like who knows what the intentions of this individual was by administering this survey. They may have been malicious in intent, but I don't know if it needs to be a podcast. This energy should have been spent sitting with the principal in that school, not with this random Frank hoo-ha on gazeagainstgroomers.com. This is more the exploitation of this child's voice who's sitting here on Frank Rodriguez's show.
And they didn't talk about it or anything. It was just like, it was like a normal question to them.
What is it like now on a high school campus? Are students very fluid with gosh, I hate even saying this, like with sex in high school? Like
There is a gender neutral restroom
Great.
on the campus.
Who cares?
Oh yeah, I've walked in on people before.
What do you mean you walked in on people before?
Like just in the stalls. So like in a normal bathroom at a school or like public place, you can see over and under the stalls a little bit, but in the gender neutral ones, you can't see anything. So you just like.
So you've walked in on people at a school in a stall together?
I have.
Doing things like this?
Yes.
You're not going to sit here and attribute that to the fact that it's a gender neutral washroom. I had the same experiences as a high school student. It was happening in the men's washroom. It was happening in the women's washroom. It was like you can't attribute sexuality in high schools to the fact that it's the gender neutral washroom's fault. That is asinine. They're high school students.
Oftentimes I see like couples walk out of the same stall.
Understanding the fruition of where gender-neutral bathrooms come from is very important in understanding how this is now an issue in our high school campuses. State Superintendent Tony Thurmond announces new efforts to expand gender-neutral efforts in California schools. This was back in November 19, 2021. Please note that his contact information is there to let him know of this story. We have to give our students all the support they need, including access to bathrooms they can use safely,
Yes.
Superintendent Thurmond said.
I agree.
I've been inspired by other students who have advocated on this issue and want to give students the opportunity to be a part of finding the solution. The question now becomes, when we decided to have gender-neutral restrooms, did anyone stop to think what would happen with high school students and possible intercourse and what we were going to do to help combat that and discourage
Like,
them?
I'm sorry, but Gays Against Groomers, you're the one who's bringing up sex. I didn't bring up sex. He's bringing up sex.
Of behavior. This is not the only time that a student from Castro Valley School District has approached me and let me know that there are inappropriate things that happen in these gender-neutral restrooms.
And you don't think the same inappropriate things aren't happening in other washrooms? You're loony.
It makes me wonder, are they checking? Are they ensuring that these restrooms are safe for all students? Because it sounds like they are a free-for-all for when students want some privacy
Good
on campus.
grief.
After meeting with this parent, I was horrified by the stories that her daughter was sharing with me. It actually motivated me to want to do this documentary, to be able to show people the reason why Gays Against Groomers is so important. And for those that don't know, Gays Against Groomers is actively being banned from multiple big tech medias, PayPal, Venmo, Twitter.
Good.
This coalition of gay people is deriving from wanting us to protect children. And just like Castro Valley Unified School District.
You can say that you're attempting to protect children, but you are attempting to protect children on the backs of attempting to take a, I don't know, like, you can say that you're trying to help children, but you can't be helping children while slandering a group of other people. As Candace Owens would say, you can't be smearing other queer people. And it's not a diverse, it's like causation versus causality. No, it's causation and correlation, right? The fact that there's inappropriate things happening in some of these gender neutral bathrooms by the recount of one student by this whatever, it just doesn't, it's not causality, it is correlation. The fact that there's something inappropriate going on in a gender neutral washroom from this one recount from this one student about this one school in California is not to say that all people with a diverse gender expression are out here to hurt your children in gender neutral bathrooms in high school. Give me a friggin' break.
Just like Castro Valley Pride, we were not met with welcoming arms when we were there trying to voice our opinion. One of the things that is important about this is private interest inside of our elected officials is a corruption, one in which anyone can agree that it's not okay. Anytime a private entity is influencing a public official, that's when you have to start questioning the motives of them and their organization.
I can agree with that.
In this next interview, we're going to unveil a parent that is deeply concerned with the private interest of the school board at Castro Valley Unified. For the viewers, tell them exactly what you got.
I just have to say, like, Frank Buddy here has the same mic that I do, the Shure MB7 whatever the hell. How is his audio quality so poor with this good mic? It just sounds like he's underwater.
And how old your child is and what happened.
Okay, so my youngest child she was 4 at the time when I received the questionnaire for her kindergarten class.
Okay.
The questionnaire is, getting to know your child. I received it from her elementary school prior to her going into school.
There's nothing wrong with asking what pronouns your child uses. If it doesn't mean anything to you, if it doesn't matter to you, then just say he, him. Just say she, her. Like, it can be literally just a single check on that thing and then it's done and you never have to talk about it again. But it's like they're continuing to bring this up, which is making this larger conversation take place that is against what they think is right. It's like they're the ones perpetuating some of the issues here.
As the first question asks for her pronouns. And gives
it's called a universal design for learning or a universal design for inclusion. So it's including all of the things that can serve everybody that exists out in the world, and those people that do not need that differentiation can just quickly check a box and it doesn't mean anything to them. That's what that's for. If you don't feel the need to, if you don't need to check the they them box, then it doesn't matter to you. Stop complaining about things. Like, what?
As an option to check off.
So what?
I have 2 other children in the schools, one in the same exact school who's in 4th grade, and he was not given this questionnaire. My 6th grader was not given this questionnaire. Only my 4-year-old.
Because it was probably made from the teacher. Why is that so deep? Or like the kindergarten team. Kindergarten is usually in like a separate kind of like structure from the other grades, from my experience in schools.
So I spoke with the teacher actually when we had parent-teacher conferences and asked her who implemented this or where did this come from. She actually didn't have the answer to that. To me, it looks like it's targeting just
Grooming.
the youngest.
Yeah.
Stop saying grooming. Asking somebody's pronouns is not grooming, you lunatic. I just know you're reading way too far into this. You're trying to make something out of nothing.
Vulnerable when it comes to influence. It seems like it's Castro Valley Unified, correct?
Yes.
This one question on a questionnaire seems to be that the whole system is broken, correct? Like, you don't have the wherewithal to make that comment against an entire school board based off of one question on one questionnaire.
Me, Castro Valley Unified is extremely progressive in this area.
They have been for some time, but it's progressively gotten worse.
How so?
They were keeping it away from the elementary schools a little bit more, and it's progressing to where it's younger and younger. Now with the pride murals on the walls at the elementary school.
Would you say that the LGBT community has been put on a pedestal when it comes to the education system?
Very much so. Yeah, I don't think that the parents' voices matter. I know that those that are on the school board happen to be very close personal friends with LGBT community members that
so it's collusion
run
now is
organizations. And I feel like that is why things are being passed. There was a PowerPoint that was presented. I believe it was from CV Pride that was presented to the school board. I don't know if the two high school students were involved in this as well, but it was a simple PowerPoint, and it gave one page had a few percentages on violence or bullying, and it had no data, and it was given by I know CV Pride was very involved. They're very close personal friends. If you go to their Facebooks, you can see that the board president is close friends with, Pride presidents and directors.
Has she said anything in the last 40 seconds? Like, I'm having trouble following what's being said.
Oh, so they're very influential.
These people have built friendships over taking care of the kids. And that's what they were elected to do here. And it seems like the influence from these outside organizations are truly what's happening in this school.
I just got to say, like, I'm going to learn more about this Frank Rodriguez, because I want to know what his history is and what his education is in and all of that. Because unless you have spent time in a school, I think you are very misplaced in able to make these comments about schools. Because if you don't know what goes on there, if you don't have an ed degree, if you haven't spent time in classrooms, then you don't know. And I can't, like, it's just... And Frank, you sitting here is what I can only assume to be a gay man. You think that you are doing a service here by throwing trans folks into the conservative machine, but one day, Mr. Frank, they are coming for your rights too. They're coming for your neck beard, girl.
Seen CV Pride to be extremely active here, and it seems like they are almost penetrated the school board and is now kind of influencing it and help running it, and they're unelected.
I did want to say something else. I kind of want to mention something else in regards to the fact that the school board president and board members are very close with Pride organization leaders. It's fine whatever they do in their personal life, and they can have whomever they want as friends, but it's a real conflict of interest when it starts to influence their professional career.
Castro Valley Unified and Castro Valley Pride both have ignored my attempts of inviting them on my show to bring clarity of what is actually happening.
Yeah, because you don't...
Valley. It's scary to think about a private interest based on sexual orientation can actually have a heavy influence on what happens with your kids. Here at
But what is the influence? Like, the influence of one specific school board I think this person is giving way too much... I think this person is giving way too much power, because I don't think each individual school board has as much power as he thinks it does. Like, school boards are still governed by the state or the province or wherever. At least that's how it is in Canada. A school board can't make these decisions. It has to come from the state or the province, from that governmental body.
Groomers, it's important that despite how this may look on our community, we want people to know the truth. We want to be able to look at these actions and say, this is not okay.
But what specifically is not okay? That one survey that was given out? The pride flag mural on the wall? Like, systematically, what is inappropriate? Like, sure, there will be, like, indiscretions that come and go just like anything else in the world. There are bad things that happen elsewhere in the world in every kind of shape and form. But that doesn't mean that the people that perpetrated those indiscretions are then somehow the figurehead of any communities that they are a part of, and you can just attribute that poor behavior to the rest of those communities. It's a wicked logical fallacy, Mr. Well, his name is gone and I forget.
An organization should have zero influence on what happens with your children at schools. Gays Against Groomers and myself.
Does he have kids? I'd be fascinated to know. Who is this man? I'm so interested.
We do not condone this type of behavior. We believe that children should
he says we, but I have a staunch I just like saying staunch. I have a staunch instinct that he is just some guy and that he's on his own, but maybe not.
Be themselves and grow in and being who they are when they are comfortable.
Being themselves of who they are and when they're comfortable. Like, this is all language that is just, it's messy. It's messy.
The things that people fail to realize when it comes to being able to identify as gay, trans, queer, whatever it is you're going to identify. You need to be able to come to that fruition on your own.
Yes.
External influences can truly have a heavy bearing on how a person brings themselves to be of who they are. One of the things that I will say is, at schools, there's no room for sexual orientation. Castro Valley Pride, I've openly invited you.
No, I don't think that's right, because if you are teaching sex ed to children in schools, like logistically, sex ed takes place in schools. If you are serving the heteronormative lens, you need to be also serving the queer lens at the same time. It doesn't need to be one is more powerful than the other. It needs to be representative of the world that exists outside of the walls of the classroom. It can't be one-sided like that. Yes, you can't force people into doing anything. You can't be forcing ideologies onto everybody, but you do need to demand respect for everyone. It's not that crazy of a concept. I think this man is homophobic. That would be my guess here. I think he's very uncomfortable with himself and his own identity, because stuff like this, again, I don't know. This is all my opinion. Do not go leave this man hateful messages, even though he may deserve it, but I don't know. Fascinating. I'm fascinated. This feels like a gold mine I found.
On this show, I've seen...
I wonder why these school boards aren't wasting your time. I wonder why these school boards aren't wasting their time coming to sit with you. Like, these pride associations are not going to come sit down with somebody who purports themselves as a gay against grooming.
Things that you have done to the public on the name of pride. I want you to know that you do not represent the LGBTQIA community.
No, I want you to know that you do not represent the LGBTQIA+ community.
Actually represent your private interest in the way that you behave and the way that you treat the public. As a community that's supposed to be built on love, I would love to see you push that out of your organization. Not only has myself, but also Gays Against Groomers and these parents have been subject to attacks from your organization. See, now the difference is Gays Against Groomers is actually able to step in the way, be the shield to these parents when they want to open up their feelings and their thought process when it comes to objecting to LGBTQIA being in schools. It does not make you transphobic. It does not make you homophobic.
It does, in fact, make you homophobic, because you saying you can't have transness in schools, you saying you can't have queerness in schools. Like, were you not an individual who moved through the school system? Make it make sense.
Makes you wanting your child to grow up without an influence of society. You
don't want your child to grow up with the influence of society when every point of our society is built under the idea of the gender binary. Everything is built with this idea of the binary of gender. It's just how do you not see this? How do you not see this? How are you not self-aware as a queer person, a self-hating queer person? This blows my mind.
Is committed to exposing all of the things that are happening within our communities, to defending gay pride and ensuring that we do not allow pedophiles or anything of the sort to penetrate the school system.
Yes, I agree. Pedophiles should, and also stop saying penetrate. I agree that those people should not be in schools 100%. We should not be sexualizing kids. I agree. But you saying that the sexualization of kids is the same thing as including queer content in schools. Oh my God. What?
Sure that we all live a society where children can walk this planet, walk our country safely. This is why Gays Against Groomers is launching in multiple countries and not in just California, not just in the United States and not just in California. If you go to gaysagainstgroomers.com, you're actually able to look at all of the members, purchase merch, and hopefully if we get our donation system back up and running, you're able to
merch? Bestie's out here peddling merch. Oh my god.
So definitely go to gaysagainstgroomers.com. For those of you that are tuning in from the Frank Rodriguez Show, I want you to know that I'm very committed to bringing the information to you and the facts. I'm going to do everything in my power to give as many parents a voice as possible. If you are someone, or you know of someone, that has an event at their school that needs attention, you can go to Frank Rodriguez Show and submit the story there to have it on this show specifically. And here I am again, inviting Castro Valley Unified School District and Castro Valley Pride on the show to defend these actions that they have
They're not coming to defend their actions because nobody needs to defend themselves to you. You are just some guy with a mic and too many opinions. And I know that, well, I am non-binary, not that my they them pronouns would be respected by this individual. And I may be just some them with a microphone and too many opinions as well. But it's just the factual nature. And like, I'm a very educated individual. I have 2 degrees and I'm working on a 3rd right now of a master's of education and neuroscience. Like, I understand logical fallacies. I understand logic. I understand. This is juicy. This is juicy right here. Oh.
Expose themselves to children. It is time you guys answer for these actions, and it's time that you explain to the public why it is that you're doing what you're doing.
I think it's because it's such a small subset. Oh my God. I think it's because it's such a small subset of people who are concerned with this, and they're just the loud majority. So that's probably why they're not wasting their time with you, Andrew. Oh my God, that was so fascinating. That was so fascinating. Well, I think that informs my content for the next 18,000 years because there's probably many episodes of that podcast. So besties, thank you so much for watching this episode of Dismantling Hate and Unpacking Bias. Here with me, your host, David Day. If you like this, check out the playlist. There's going to be lots of bingeable videos, and there's probably going to be lots of this individual here. We'll see more of him. So yes, please make sure that you are defending queer people if you have the safety and the wherewithal to do so in the moment. Yes, besties, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.